Happy Thursday, everybody. And speaking of happy, at what age have you felt the happiest in life?
So subjective.
It's very subjective.
Yes, it is.
But in our next 6 or 7 minutes, we're going to try to answer that. Because a new study says it may have been a long time ago since you've really been the happiest.
So this study found that most kids are very happy, but that happiness starts to decrease between the ages of 9 and 16. Researchers say that's because of puberty. They say after 16, happiness starts to slowly increase again, but we don't reach peak happiness until the age of 70. So that's why this morning we want to know, at what age have you felt the happiest? I feel like this is kind of depressing. We're like
9 is the part I don't understand is like 9. I think maybe later than 9. Because
Larry, we do a lot of stories on
puberty at 9 years old.
Oh, well, it's happening earlier to girls these days. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
Different topic, but for the ladies, it's different.
I can't help it.
But I am saying we are seeing depression in kids at age 12 and in middle school. And I think because of social media, way more than we did before. But the study is sad. It's like, you're not going to be happy again until 70.
Yeah. It's going to be a few decades. It's going to be a few decades.
That's what I want to know. So it's this
who
like
did the study?
That's what exactly.
Yeah.
These are the questions that I have, Larry.
It's always they. Well, who is the they?
Yes.
A guy named Jared. He gives us all this information. He's very credible.
Jared's in prison, by the way.
Oh, well, you're going to a different Jared, man.
Okay.
No, that's not my go-to. No, but in all seriousness, I really think that this is coming up because really that's kind of the coming of age where you're really starting to feel the real world. So maybe it kind of goes downhill. You're trying to figure out who you are as a person. I personally have to say, it's like once I hit my 30s, let people like, oh no, I'm turning 30. That's where I kind of figured myself out, and I think kind of hit my full stride. So I think each decade really has its own advantage. And then once you get to 70, maybe it's the retirement that they're talking about. But again, some of these studies are just kind of subjective, and that's why we asked, when have you felt the happiest?
Honestly, it might surprise you guys. I'm not surprised by this at all. I mean, because when you are 5 or 6, all it takes to make you happy is a toy in line at the grocery store or something like that. You are the happy. I mean, it's a very simple notion of happy. Once you become adult, it gets a lot more complicated and things like that. And by the time you reach 70, you just don't care. You're like, please, I've got this figured out.
And when they're younger, kids are just content, most of them, content with what they have. When people get older or kids start getting on social media, it's like comparison is the thief of joy. They're just comparing themselves to what everybody else has.
Melissa actually is using a word that I used this morning, and I've been using a lot lately. She said, in my mid-40s, they're treating me very well. Content and peace.
You said content this morning.
Yeah, content. That's how I describe my life right now. Is it the happiest? Like, because I think about, again, like back in college when I was at NYU and I didn't have a care in the world and I was interning and like it was just fun and frivolous.
You didn't
and
have no cares in college?
Absolutely not, and it was amazing. But I do think that was. I don't think that's reflective of real happiness. That's just sort of like a sort of superficial life. Is
a lot of people in college are very confused and rough time.
I totally agree. Mine was not representative of all experiences. Actually,
that's interesting.
The first 3 months, I will say, were horrible, and I hated it.
You did miss your mom.
But absolutely. She's like, you are not coming back home. You are staying there, and you're going to work it out.
Come back here.
But then it got better.
Joy saying I felt happiest at 28 when I graduated from college.
Okay, Joy. Well, thinking of the age, so it makes me think of all these studies that we keep talking about when it comes to depression in kids. And I remember the last one that I did, it was saying that it's as early as 8 years old that you should start really having like those serious conversations with your kids, especially about, unfortunately, like youth suicide and whatnot. So that's what I think about too when I'm like listening to you guys talk about the study, because I do wonder like what kind of questions are being asked, and are they asking like kids, parents? I'm assuming they're asking everybody of all ages.
I'm being serious about where did the study come from? Seriously,
I have any idea.
I was about to say we'd have to ask producers. A lot of times they're pulling like directly from Pew Research.
It'd be nice to know because who's doing this kind of research and who are they talking to?
That is my favorite question to ask.
I think in the world today...
Okay, wait. Let me stop you right there. Let's just call your bluff just real quickly. Because are either one of you qualified to question the methodology? Because honestly, I'm not. Like, I'm not. Like,
I would just like to know who it is.
You could say Pew Research is reputable, but like, I am not a statistician. Like, I am not the person to be. It's like when people like want to like debate with doctors and stuff like that. Like, sure, doctors are wrong, but boy, they're a lot more educated than I am. Like, I'm not in the position to really like know whether these people
It
are
would be
right.
nice to know the source.
Sure.
I was about to say,
According to USA Today.
Is it somebody?
Yes.
Is it a group that you recognize?
Yeah.
My favorite thing to say is that anyone is qualified to ask questions. It's the fundamental of journalists is that, because when you think about it, for a lot of us, we go to school for either communications, journalism, public relations, but then we're tasked with like interviewing presidents. You know, are we the most qualified? No, but we're fundamentally trained to ask questions. That's the way I see it. So that's why when I see these researches...
So the research team from the German Sport University.
What's that?
This is where it comes from. A bunch of German names.
Oh, okay.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
I trust them.
I like your chocolates.
Melissa,
But you can't trust their studies.
Only their chocolate.
Melissa chiming in to Joy is saying, I think I'm happiest now. My kids are growing into such amazing humans. I love watching them. Melissa, I wonder, how old are your kids? Because I feel like I'm in the thick of it now, and you're just like praying every night, like, please, like, let me do a good job. And before I send them off when they're 18, and you sometimes as a parent feel like you're doing everything wrong, you know, and so I know sometimes that, like, when you talk to other parents that their kids are finally off and they're in their careers and they're thriving and they're adults, you feel 13 and 10.
So she's got a few years on you as far as
my daughter's 8. Yeah, I'm almost there. Hank Lee, early 20s, before any real responsibilities, way less stress and anxiety over retirement, sending my son to college, et cetera, et cetera. And John Kelly, I agree, each decade brings a new perspective and happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting because I look back and I know people say, oh, you know, college will be the best time of your life, or this will be, and I feel like I'm very content right now. I would never want to go back to college. I wouldn't call that like the happiest time. But at the same time, as a like working mom, it's like so exhausting. And so I don't know. I don't know if I would say this is the happiest time either. But I feel like people who are always saying, if you're looking back or you're looking forward, you're not living in the present, and you have to learn to be content and be joyful in where you are.
The old philosopher Frank Sinatra had a song, it was a very good year. Listen to that. And there may be your answer, because he goes throughout life.
Yeah.
When I was 17, it was a very good year. And then
Oh, that's
progresses
awesome.
all the way through maturity, through life.
Yeah.
And Eric Church was having a record year not too long ago, so that's a song. Having a record year.
All right.
Well, and I think life's really about ebbs and flows too. That even when you're talking about the best year, you can also look at it as like, well, this also happened compared to the peaks and the valleys. So you also have to say, like I said, for the decades, and John Kelly kind of agrees, each decade brings a new perspective. And each decade, each year is going to have peaks of happiness that if you really can continue to hit those peaks, really you can have constant happiness that are things you can reflect back on.
I saw this interview, and I can't remember, it was with some celebrity, so I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was so powerful. He was talking about how he was talking to his therapist and how he feels like he's always here or here. Like he wished his life was just here. And she said, well, you know, if someone's in the hospital and they pass away, like, the monitor's here, and that's not life. Life is supposed to be highs and lows, and that is, you know, the rhythm of life, and you have to learn to embrace that. I thought that was so powerful when she gave that analogy
you don't
to
really
him.
appreciate the good things until you felt the bad things.
Totally.
Totally. It's mastering the ups and downs. And not letting it throw you as much. I think.
And honestly,
and that only
that's
comes
what
with
makes
life
me happy.
experience. That comes with life experience because the ups and downs.
We're all philosophizing.
Do you feel it? I know.
Take that, German universities.
And Switzerland.
All right, that's right. All right, folks, we'll see you back here for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte to Go. We'll keep it light.
More of this subject.
Yeah, right?